Hello, we are Geeks Assembled, and today I'm joined with Connor, Tim, and Susan, and we are discussing a movie from 1984, a sequel, but yet it's a prequel. It's Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, set in 1935, a few years before Raiders was set. So we'll go to opening thoughts on Temple of Doom. Um, Connor, your opening thoughts on this movie?
Um, I like Indiana Jones. Um, One of the original three, though. However, I think this is the weakest of the three. Not by much, um, but I would agree with the consensus of people that this is the weakest one. I think Raiders and Last Crusade is just it's kind of bookends to the original trilogy. Is far superior. Having said that, this was the first one I ever saw. I actually saw this, and it is a prequel to Raiders of the Lost Ark, so I'm not technically missing out on anything. I did see this one first, and for a while, this one was my favorite. Um, Kate Capshaw as Willie Scott, the glitzy nightclub singer in Shanghai. Um, and Short Round, played by God, what's his name?
Go on. Go on. You can pronounce it. Go on.
Yeah, um, oh, Jonathan Key Kwan, who I don't think has done anything since this. Um, Unless I'm wrong, has he done anything since this? Does anyone actually know?
Was he in Goonies? Yeah, he was in Goonies. I thought his face rang a bell. There you
Hmm,
go. But
that
that was only a year after this one.
Yeah, so I don't think he went on to do. He was picked off pretty much the street, wasn't he? I think I remember seeing in a documentary quite a number of years ago. I think he was kind of handpicked almost to play. I don't think he had any intention of becoming an actor or anything to do with show business. Um, this one is significantly darker than Raiders of the Lost Ark, I'd say. There's a lot of aspects of this that definitely set the tone. The um, the heart scene comes to mind. Um, However, this does provide a lot of kind of franchise, if you could call Indiana Jones a franchise defining moments. The bridge fight
Mhm.
instantly springs to mind. That's probably, I would say that's the scene, maybe apart from in Raiders of the Lost Ark where he's getting chased by the boulder. I think that's the scene that everyone kind of knows about to do with Indiana Jones. Um, I really like the story as well. I do. Um, I kind of like all as I said, the elements of the human sacrifices and stuff like that because it just gives it a really kind of um, darker tone, and the how it kind of goes from a bit James Bond, I would say at the beginning when he's in Shanghai dressed in his Sunday best or whatever you call it, to kind of becoming this um, Indian based adventure full of sacrifices, heart ripping out, and all that sort of gory stuff. It's a really interesting twist for Indiana Jones. I could see why a lot of people didn't like it though. As I said from the off, compared to Raiders of the Lost Ark, because I feel like Raiders of the Lost Ark kind of, as a genre, defined Indiana Jones better as being like an adventure series um, set in the 30s. You know, this one didn't feel like it had quite as much adventure in it. It was just it lacked the globe trotting aspect of Indiana Jones that I think people enjoyed a lot more about Raiders of the Lost Ark and Temple and Last Crusade. But yeah, to be honest, that's my opening thoughts. It was a good movie. It was my favorite at one point, but I think when you kind of watch the series as a whole, it will never be as bad as Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but it just doesn't pale in comparison to the two other entries in the original trilogy.
Oh, well, I know a lot of people say about the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull that it was so so far fetched and this that and the other. But I'm sorry to say, all the Indiana Jones movies are far fetched. They're always going about the explosion and getting in the fridge. Hold on a minute, coming out of a plane in a rubber dinghy. I'm sorry. You take it for what it is. It's a boy's adventure tale. That's what these movies are. So let's move over to. We'll go to Tim. His opening thoughts on Temple of Doom.
Well, it's interesting as far as the director Spielberg goes. This is about, I think, 12 years into his career, and he's really mastered the art of making action adventure type movies, for big audiences. And this is no exception. It's a good movie. It's a good second film. I agree with Connor that it's probably the lesser of the three of the original trilogy, but it still has a really good series of set pieces and adventures for the characters, and it's all done pretty well. I agree with him too that it's a bit darker. I don't really like the gross out scene with the food. I think that was unnecessary, but I think this is aimed at more kids more than adults, or maybe it's one of those movies you take the kids to kind of thing, family type picture. But yeah, it's interesting they decided to go with new characters this time. I think Willie is a bit less likable than the Karen Allen character, mainly because she doesn't do anything but complain, pretty much, which is fine. That's what she's there for. And Short Round is interesting. He's a very small little kid that is pretty helpful in a fight, I guess. But yeah, this is a fun movie. I don't think it's probably as good as the other two in the series, but it's not to say it's not good though. It's still a good movie. It's got interesting set pieces, and I think it does what it's supposed to do. Again, this is Spielberg in his best. Well, it's before he started being the Oscar bait Spielberg that was making more serious movies later on in his career. So he was really good at turning out these action adventure thriller types, for big audiences. And I guess that's all I got for now.
Thank you, Tim. And Susan, over to you.
All right. Well, this is a rich tapestry of things of different layers. The first layer is the action adventure story. Kid find a diamond and get poisoned, get in a plane. Seen off by Dan Aykroyd, which is great. And then find out that all this early stuff is done at a club called Obi-Wan Club, which is like a definite nod to Star Wars. And in the club is Kathleen Kennedy, who produced the thing. She's part of the Anything Goes dance routine, which is fun, super fun. And then you're going through, and you've got a flight in an airplane. The two pilots jump out. They have to find a way to escape, so they, like Tim said, inflate a rubber dinghy and fall out of the sky. And then it's sort of like a James Bond chase scene down the mountain. And in so many ways, stealing all these imagery things from James Bond, all of these imagery things uh, from Quartermain and some from Star Wars and things like that. It's got it's a great tapestry of stuff, and I like how Willie is as shrill as Mel Bush in Doctor Who. In those screams that really can light up a night or can that's fun. She's Kate Capshaw does a great screaming job, and they come up with some new Wilhelm screens in this, which are fun, and yeah, it's great. And Ki Hui Kwan is he he was in Goonies and he was in Tales of the Crypt, and he did a TV show, and he last before this pandemic, he was in Boston for a Goonies reunion with Sean Astin and Corey Feldman and uh, a couple other people, which was great. A fun panel discussion, and he's cool. He did a lot of stunt work in his later life. In his 20s and 30s, he did some stunt work, and then he started coordinating that for other films because he was so good at fighting, and he was a good fight choreographer as well. And I really like him as an actor, and I really liked him as a person at Boston Comic Con. And yeah, so he's always a pleasure to see on screen. Ever since he was a little kid, he's really amazing. And let's see, Harrison Ford. Of course, you can't say anything terrible about him. He is a rock star of a film actor. He he hits emotional moments, but like in real life, he can't land a plane for shit. Oh my god, fucking landing on a highway in California
Careful now. Careful with the slander there.
no, listen, he landed on a highway. He landed on a taxiway.
One time.
No,
One
he's
time
done.
he had a bad flight.
No, he's had 4 bad flights. I mean, yes, my father landed geared up with his small plane. I mean, I'm not saying that anybody's perfect. I'm just saying, you can't land a plane. Anyway, it was just a joke. Oh my god, it was a joke. Anyway, so yeah, cool elephants, cool Indian stuff. I think that the table was set to show the radical difference between the Far East and the Far West, or America and the Far East, which was
You mean the civilized and the uncivilized?
no, I'm saying cultural differences, like what you eat. Like people eat different stuff, right? Raw fish in
I drop
Japan.
soup.
Yeah, eyeball soup. I ate brains and intestines in Turkey. I mean, you go further east and things change a lot from the way you're used to. And that was the thing is that, but you'd think that Willie would have been cognizant of that having lived in Shanghai. Who knows? Anyway, played for laughs entirely. And yeah, it's one of my faves. I own it. I'm not. I like it. It's a good movie. I like the whole series, and I really like Ke Huy Kwan, and I really like Harrison Ford. So that's all I have to say. Back over to you.
Thank you, Susan. Yeah, I mean, you've all touched on about, it's mostly the least favorite of the original trilogy, but the only thing what's missing from it is Nazis. Really, that's it. Apart from that, it's as I say, it's an adventure tale about supernatural powers again, which he always comes up against in every movie. And it's just well done. The scenery, the locations are brilliant. Yeah, I can understand people's dislike of the character Willie Scott because of all the screaming. But that's, as Tim said, that's what the character was created for. To do, to run about, scream, because she's a fish out of water. She's used to the cabaret and all like that, singing on stage. She's in the jungle now with snakes and elephants, and so that's what that was for. And also as well, she got. I don't know if she got the job because of her husband, Mr. Spielberg. She married him after this movie, though. So I don't know if they started dating when they were filming this movie, but who knows? They're still together, but not after once this cast gets out, they'll mostly file for divorce, because this is the effect our cast have on people. And a good villain as well. What's his name? Is it Molo Ram? Who, the one ripping the hearts out. That is such a great villain. And you've got all the traps as you did in the original movie. With the doors and the roof coming down and all that. You've got the snakes, you've got the cockroaches, you've got everything what you had in the first movie. It's just a different setting without Nazis. And I like all the movies equally, really. It's just a different take on the Indy adventures. And it's been said about some of the scenes are iconic. You've had as Connor says, the boulder in the first one. This one with the rope bridge. Just so well done, so well actually, and the stunts in this, of course, you can't fault the stunts in these types of movies. So, favorite things or things what you're not so keen on. I think it's been touched on with the edible stuff, but so we'll see if there's anything else, shall we say. Let's go to Tim.
Well, oddly enough, I think my favorite scene is actually the beginning. They have this musical number out of nowhere, and it's hilarious, and it turns into a.
You think, what the hell am I watching here?
I know, right? But it's done very well. It looks really cool, and they then it segues into a sort of farce scene with the antidote and the diamond being kicked around, and they're both looking. They're at cross purposes, and it's all very funny, even though it's supposed to be pretty serious. But yeah, I think that was probably my favorite bit.
all,
in the whole movie.
all that scene was missing was a pie fight.
Yeah, you could have squeezed that in probably, but it was very effective. And again, it's a movie full of scenes though. I mean, there's a lot of great stunts, like you said, and set pieces, with bits of adventure going, like the bit, I mean, it kind of never stops, does it? I mean, there's the bit within the train car, little things going around and avoiding the water and all that stuff. I mean, all that's pretty funny. Again, the only thing I don't think is handled very well, or it's just kind of gross out humor, was the food scene, the dinner scene, which it's just there for Willie to scream at and be disgusted by, which is fine. She's like the audience identification figure anyway, so it's just I mean that was probably really more appealing to children. But as far as weakest scenes, I would say that one.
Thanks, Tim. Connor.
As I mentioned, I think my favourite scene is the bridge scene. However, I do like the comedy in it. I quite like the scene where the trap stops and then Willie bends over and hits the button with her ass, and it restarts again. And as is always kind of the gag, Indy just manages to get his hat in the nick of time. I do like the scenes played for laughs like that. Some of the gags with the elephants as well was fantastic. I actually quite liked the dinner scene. I didn't so much mind it because
it's a delicacy in Leeds, isn't it?
yeah, we eat all that sort of stuff. You go to any Indian restaurant around here, and that's what you get. Yeah, get sheep's head and stuff like that.
Well, some people still you can at butchers.
You actually can, yeah, you can, which is. But yeah, it didn't gross me out that much, to be honest. I kind of, and I know it was played that just to give Willie something to scream at. But yeah, I think it was a pretty fun moment. There was a lot of kind of I think that people give this movie stick, and as I said, I think it's the weakest of the three. But in terms of it being a fun adventure film, it's basically exactly the same as the other two. I don't count Kingdom of the Crystal Skull because that's not Indiana Jones. If you include aliens in it, then that's just not Indiana Jones.
Well, can I just stop you there? Why can't you include aliens in it?
Because Indiana Jones doesn't fight. He doesn't fight aliens.
What happened in Raiders? What came out the Ark?
That was supernatural. But
what happened in the Last Crusade?
It's not alien though.
They had a spirit of a knight what had been sat there for over 400 years.
Yeah, the Holy Grail.
I wouldn't say that the inclusion of aliens was the problems with that movie. That movie had a lot of problems. Probably too many cooks. I think that it could have been a good movie. It wasn't the aliens that was the problem. I don't think. I think there were a lot of other.
Every indie film is a fantasy film because it's all about supernatural powers or something. This movie,
I still wouldn't put aliens in an Indiana Jones film. I'd put supernatural stuff in an Indiana Jones film.
But Connor, they say that crystal skull is alien. I mean, it's kind of like a trope because I mean it shows up in Stargate SG-1. It shows up in some other literature like filmic literature. It is its own trope. The crystal skull either is dimensionally transitional or it is alien in nature.
Also, as well, that movie was set in, was it 1950s?
51.
The height of there was the Cold War going on, and also you had the Roswell incident and all like that, and it was the thing what people talked about in that era, and that's why you had that sort of involvement in that movie.
I mean, anyway, regardless of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is crap. That's a universal consensus, I think. But yeah, I think in terms of like leveling out the fun aspect of it, I think that Temple of Doom brings as many fun adventure moments as the other two do. So in many ways, despite it being the weakest of the films, it's not a terrible sequel, and in fact, it's not a bad trilogy either. Sometimes trilogies really fall flat. I feel there's not many great trilogies, but I think I would include Indiana Jones in the list of great trilogies, even though there are entries that are weaker than the others. But then again, I guess the original Star Wars films had a weaker entry in Return of the Jedi. So it's kind of it's the same formula. You can also tell that Indiana Jones is pretty much Spielberg's answer for Star Wars. It's like George Lucas created Star Wars, and it's almost like Steven Spielberg wanted his own his own thing to mess
I
around.
think Lucas collaborated on these though, didn't he?
Yeah,
he wrote.
it was under
He wrote
Lucas.
them.
Well, he didn't write the first one.
And he's in it.
So-
Lucas and Spielberg and Kennedy all have a little bit role in these.
I think Lawrence Kasdan wrote the first one.
Story by George Lucas.
Right. And anyway, yeah, George Lucas was involved in it. Yeah. There's some very interesting stories about Indiana Jones. Actually, just as a whole, the original plan was to make him the age he is in the film. I think he's in his 40s. I think Harrison Ford in his 40s at the time.
Might have been a little bit younger.
And in the first film, Marion was going to be 12 when they first met. So that love story was going to involve a 12-year-old. There is an interesting video on YouTube.
I think after they thought it through, they realized that wasn't going to work. She was probably originally created as a 12-year-old character, but then they decided to make her a love interest, which is why they went with an older actress.
Yeah,
I'm assuming.
Yeah,
I don't have any facts.
There's an interesting video on the original story meetings about Indiana Jones. But Temple of Doom specifically, yeah, I think it it has its fair share of great moments, and I do think that the dinner one is one of them, even though it grosses most people out. I just love the glitziness of. I kind of agree with Tim. I love the glitziness of the beginning as well. I do love the whole Shanghai aspect of it, and the antidote and the diamonds thing. It is pretty much, even though it's a weak film in a trilogy, it is incredible moment after incredible moment after incredible moment. Most of the scenes in Temple of Doom, as they are in the other two, are just as memorable, I think. So I wouldn't even say that Temple of Doom is that weak a film. It just is weak compared to the other two.
Yeah, I can see what you're trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my favorite moment.
What was it? Susan, have you done? We haven't done your favourite moments, have we?
No, not really.
No.
I guess my favorite moments are in the temple. I like the big person friar that they've got. That's a really cool um, device, and I like just like a pirate movie, anything with like those wheels, those cap, self cinching or whatever, cleating, self cleating wheels that suddenly go and the person is falling down. That's just amazing. And and I love the intimacy of the moments when Willie and Short Round and Indy are all looking at the temple and seeing what's going on and talking. I like that. Hang on a second. Okay, sorry. And the other moments that I liked the sliding down the snow over the cliff, down into the water, down the water into the. I mean, there's some cool cinematography in this, and some cool action scenes. And I love it when they free all the little kids and bring them home. That is so heartwarming to me. No matter how many times I see this movie, I like go, oh, and it catches in my throat because it's so amazing to be like setting free all the slaves, all the children, slave workers. And I mean, maybe it's because of this movie that I'm so involved with abolitionists and ending slavery all over the world. I just think it's amazing. It, it's a good result in throughout this movie, and the acting of all the Indian characters was amazing. Like there was the guy who played the prime minister played the guy who was Gandhi's best friend in Gandhi. I mean, it was like that. There's good, powerful acting going on. Anyway, so yeah, um, music was exciting and fun, and uh, yeah, and lots of pretty diamonds and other gemstones throughout this thing. The way that the young Maharaja, was decked out was pretty great. Anyway,
I
so
could, I could have slapped him.
yeah, you could have. I couldn't, especially with that. Oh, there was that cognitive dissonance between like him holding a voodoo doll and stabbing a voodoo doll, which that's not one of their things. That's from deep South French Creole Santeria stuff. So I mean, like that was, but culturally, otherwise, it was interesting. Back over to you, Lee.
Thank you, Susan. Well, what can I say? Everybody said most things. I would like to know, was there ever a Temple of Doom roller coaster ride? Because if there was, I want to go on one. You sit in a mining cart and go along. I'd love that.
I think there was one.
What's the one?
Yeah, I think there was one.
Uh,
There wasn't
bet
a Jones one, but
yeah, I bet it's shut down now. Anyways, yeah, I do like all the little scenes. I mean, Pat Roach was back in this as well, as he was in the first one, but this time he was playing the slave, the jailer of the young kids, and he got his comeuppance on the conveyor belt with fighting Indy, which he did in the first one where he was playing the German in the aeroplane. But yeah, it's an awesome movie, as we say. I could have slapped the Maharaja. I just the food didn't really gross me out. It was there for comedic effect, and I do believe what Tim said. The kids would love that. But as I said, we were there for the comedic effect, watching Willie's reaction to what everything was put in front of her, and it works. Some people go, ugh. Some people laugh. Short round, yeah, it can be a bit annoying sometimes, but I don't know. I could have slapped him sometimes. I'm not a kid beater, but but I mean the Maharaj and short round, I could have slapped him a few times because they were a bit annoying. But there again, I could also have slapped Willie.
They did slap each other, so they kind of took that out.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's true. But I suppose the Maharaja was supposed to be annoying at some points in the movie. Yeah, the bridge scene is as kind of is his favourite. It is iconic with the is it alligators or it's crocodiles in that country, isn't it? The with all down the side of the cliff and all of that. It's brilliant scene, all that. Yeah, well, what else can I say? But it's a damn good movie, and for me it stands up with as Connor said, bookends to the original trilogy. It's a fun movie. That's all it is from beginning to end. Oh, there is there is a little more bit what made me giggle, and that was in the Shanghai bit at the beginning with the rickshaw and the the car up behind it. little fellow with his legs going up in the air. That made me giggle. But there you go. Right. Anything else before we go to final saying score?
Well,
Nope. Okay then. Connor,
hold on.
final saying score on Indiana. No. Yep.
No, I think there are a few scenes that you wouldn't get away with if they were making this movie today, just because of the PC world we live in now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The slapping, the slapping of the kids, the blood on the thing after the guy goes. I don't think they would have done that today. Spielberg wouldn't. It's just that's the kind of thing you could get away with PG back in the 80s that you can't get away with these days. Because everybody's so sensitive.
This is why films these days are not that good.
Right.
Bring back the slapping. I'm going to get in trouble for that. Oh dear. Connor.
I'll give it a 7 out of 10. And on that point, I am interested to see what James Mangold does with Indiana Jones 5, because it's not Spielberg for once, which is
no involvement whatsoever.
No involvement whatsoever. So it's likely, and knowing James Mangold, what he did with Logan, that there might be a return to some of the elements in Temple of Doom. It might be a little edgier than I imagine Spielberg had planned. Definitely, I can see it. I can see it being a brutal thing.
But they can't kill him off though.
No, they can't kill him off
because of the TV series where he was still alive.
Yeah, they did say that this would be the definitive last film.
Yeah. But...
So who knows? They might actually kill him off. I don't think they're going to recast Indiana Jones at all, even though that's been a point for 10 years. Then they said that Chris Pratt was going to be Indiana Jones at one point.
They'll just reboot it, as you say, with Chris Pratt or something like that.
They will probably reboot it, yeah.
I think they should. I think they should go with a streaming series, because that's where we're all going now, is streaming. And it would be very popular. It'd be very expensive. I'm not saying necessarily Chris Pratt, but you could recast it with a younger cast and just, it'd be a good adventure series, I would think.
But Connor won't remember this, but back in the 80s, there was a TV series, sort of an Indiana Jones TV series. Oh, what was it called?
It was Young Indiana. It was Young Indiana.
No, not that. I know that one, but before that, there was a TV series very similar to Indiana Jones. This was when Raiders had just been on at cinema. What was it called? Was it Tales of the Golden Monkey? Or am I just dreaming that and having?
I'm not sure.
Bell, but I'm more familiar with the River Phoenix, Young Indy series.
Yeah, but he wasn't in that.
River
Phoenix one in the young. It was, what was his name?
Sylvester McCoy was in the Young Indy series.
Yeah.
Which one was River Phoenix?
He was at the beginning of Last Crusade.
I thought he was Indiana Jones in the Young Indy series as well.
No, he played Young Indy at the beginning of Last Crusade.
Is that his only appearance?
Yeah. It was Sean. Is it Sean Patrick? Flap, whatever his name is. played the Young Indy in the TV series. Is it Sean Patrick or Patrick somewhat or other?
Oh, okay. I was always, well, I've literally just learned that now. Then I was under the impression that River Phoenix was the. I could have sworn he was in the TV series. He was the lead.
Sean Patrick Flannery is the.
There we go.
Yeah.
I was getting there.
Okay. Well, that's me. That I stand corrected.
Of course you do. Stand in a corner and until next week.
Are you sure River Phoenix never did a TV series?
There was a segment at the beginning of Last Crusade where he showed you how he got the scar on his chin.
Yeah, but he falls into the snake thing as well.
That's the only part he was in on that.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, it's
Because I think when the TV series was in production, I think River Phoenix was already dead.
I do think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Because this was what, mid-90s, the TV series.
There were two series. There was one in '92 and one in 2002.
So there you go. I've got them over there. I've got 3 volumes of them. Do you want?
Really,
But,
that's awesome.
I know, great.
yeah. So
There's not a lot.
it's
Um,
7 out of 10 from me.
Oh, yeah, that's what we was doing, was it? Yeah, we was scoring it. Thank you, Connor, for just setting me off on another tangent. Let's go to Tim.
I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It's not perfect, but it's a good action adventure movies. A movie with a lot of humor in it, and it still holds up pretty well after 36 years. I mean, it's still a fun watch. So I bet you anything if you showed it to a kid today, well, I can't really say, but they'd probably enjoy it just as well. So I give it a 9 out of 10.
Thank you, Tim. Susan.
I will give it 10 antidote tubes or exchange for diamonds out of 10.
2 antidote tubes. Do you mean a vial?
10 antidote tubes. Yes, test tubes, vials, same thing.
I know.
And I would like to say that I don't think it's the weakest. I think it is as strong as the other two. I think that it did fall off on the fourth one, but not terribly. And I look forward to reviewing the last two in this series, definitely on a future day.
We will get round to doing a movie in this genre at some point. What shall I give it? Yeah, fun movie. It does what it says on the tin. You're going to sit down, you're going to have an adventure movie, and that's what it is. Yeah, I'm going to give it 9 as well. 9 monkey brains out of 10. I know some people won't like that, but 9 monkey brains will do me for now. So, you guys, Connor, Tim, Susan, thanks for joining us and talking Temple of Doom. You guys out there, please leave a comment if you like the movie. Let us know what you thought of the movie. Let us know what you think of our casts. What do you think of our cast members? Is Connor reaching his full potential in these casts? Because I don't think he is. No, he isn't. I think he can do a lot better. He can do his homework, because I'm sorry, River Phoenix. No, you see, we just had to pull that rug from under him there. He thought he was getting.
That was a Mandela effect moment. Because I
but Connor can reach his full potential under our guidance, and within 5 years he may get there. But
what? So you planning on giving me the ownership of the podcast when you
at one point I will have to retire.
You will have to retire. So, very true. I mean,
after you kill him, Connor, you can take over. The evil Poison. Dark Lord of our podcast can steal the heart clean out of Lee. Molaram.
Well, anyway, yeah. But yeah, if you feel like you can reach his full potential, just let us know what you can do to improve. And if you'd like to join, please message me or any of us. We'll try and get back to you, and we'll see if we can get you on these casts. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, and YouTube, of course, because you must be watching this on YouTube. And if you want to be notified for new videos what we put up. Press the bell button there, and it'll ding every time we put one up.
I've
So,
got a shout out, by the way. I know that after the Casino Royale.
not Daniel Craig. Has he been in touch?
No, but welcome to more fans of our we're
Is it,
growing.
is it family related by any chance?
Not family related, no.
Oh, right.
But you've got more fans.
Me personally, or the group?
You've got more fans than the group has, but yeah.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Should I be worried?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
I'm not telling you who they are, but you've got new fans. The whole group's got new fans, so we are growing. We're starting to see some.
Did we ever start this to have fans?
Well, I mean, our two. At least it's not 2 viewers anymore. It's now
Well,
like 5 or something.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I'm still waiting my first fan letter though. So if please, if you're out there, please write us a fan letter, and I'll see what I can do. So you've just thrown me now. More fans.
Yeah, you've got more fans.
Well, what can I say? I'm speechless. I'll have to up my game as Connor will have to keep these fans coming. So until next time, stay safe, and we'll see you in a week's time with some more fantastic reviews. Non-professional, but fantastic. Bye for now. Oh dear.